All right, so for those who are hearing this voice and you're not seeing me, my name is Teddy, a customer experience analyst here at Nabo. And with me, I'm with our Chief Customer Experience Officer, Mercy Njoroge, and we're going to have a good discussion and a wonderful talk. Yeah. So, Mercy, probably can just tell us, what's the day in the life of a customer experience, Chief Customer Experience Officer?
At Nabo.
At Nabo.
Let me just highlight at Nabo. First of all, my name Mercy Mwongela, CXO at Nabo. A day in the life of Mercy is I start my morning very early, do my morning routine, but I'm always thinking about one, customer expectation and delivering the promise to the customer. And it's across board. First, we've got returns. Are our returns competitive enough? Are they delivering the promise to the customer? Two, I'm always thinking about how we are showing up to the market, whether it's social media, from an expectation perspective. I'm talking to my team. So in our team, we do a lot of data analytics, data analysis. We are always looking at, one, are we delivering what we promised? So the promise is not just from a return perspective, but are you able to get in touch with us? Are we responding in time? So I will be talking to my counterparty and the marketing department. I'll be talking to our chief investment officer. I'll be talking to our CEO. I also manage I had the relationship management of the institutional clients. So at that point, I'm also thinking about the institutional clients. How you talk to them is very different from the retail clients. So my day is always thinking about, one, the customer, the heartbeat of the customer. Are we delivering the promise? And number two, do we even know what's happening? We're living in a constantly evolving world. So I have another team that does tech. How is our tech? How are our systems operating? How are they? I can't even believe I do tech, but never undermine your capacity and capabilities. The minute you say yes to something, there is so much that you can do. So there's the tech side. How is the data migration going on? How is the new environment? So there are all these interfaces that are coming together because there's a difference between customer experience and customer service.
Nice. Awesome. And so what's the difference? Because for every person, they generalize and say that customer service and customer experience is one and the same thing. And the perception that they have is someone is sitting by a desk tired and just speaking phone calls on and off. Nothing more, nothing else. Pretty much like a robot. But I believe customer experience is different. And what's the difference between the two?
That's a good one, because every time I introduce myself as Chief Customer Experience at Nabo, Chief Customer Experience Officer at Nabo, the one question, or rather I can just see, you're the guys who we always try to call, whether it's Safaricom, we can't get hold of you. You're the team that always has to offer us a solution. But customer experience is different. Customer experience begins with a fundamental understanding of what customer expectations are. So we curate solutions, we curate products with the understanding of what the customer expectation is. So there are customers who come to us, and I like that at Nabo we've segmented our customers into four. There are customers who want a good return. So those we must always consistently, the minute you're a client of a fund at a fund management outfit, you expect market beating returns. So that is not even a compromise. So one, there's the design of the products. Two is, are these products delivering the return? Three, there's also the compliance element. So we look at the regulatory framework. What does our regulator, which is the Capital Markets Authority, expect us to deliver? So there's always that thing at the back of our heads within CX. Because we can curate a product, but then if it's not in line with regulation, then that product will not stand the day in light of our regulator. The third element is, how do our customers find out about this product? Because you could be, the one thing that I see with a lot of companies is they tell their story. but they don't tell it from what the customer expects. So there's that disconnection. It's called an expectation gap. What I expected versus things go ground a bit different. Yeah,
for sure.
So for us, experience is about the design, the curation of the products. It's about understanding customer expectation. It's about delivering customer expectation from the very first touch point. And the first touch point is from a brand awareness perspective. So at Nabo, we also, CX interfaces a lot with our marketing team. So our marketing team, we don't send them to the market without equipping them. So we give them we call it the campaign brief. The campaign brief comes from CX, and it's backed with a lot of statistics, a lot of analysis that we've done on the back end, which I really don't want to bore you with. Now, flip customer service on the other end. Ever bought something from an electronics shop and I need to fix maybe my washing machine? I've just gotten it delivered at home, and I realize the piping doesn't align with the piping in my tap. Or I bought a cooker, and this cooker doesn't fit the space that I have in my fitted kitchen. Or I have bought a phone, and I need this phone to operate. I will call customer service, that company, and say, you know what, this is my issue. And they will direct me as to solving that particular problem. So experience thinks about the product before the product gets to the house. And then it aligns the narrative, it aligns the marketing, it sets the stage for you as a customer to be able to use that particular product. So it's coming from design to the utilization of the product, whereas service on the other end is to address queries and questions that you might have here and there. So at Nabo, service is a very small component of customer experience, still sits within our department. And the one thing that I really like about Nabo is we say everyone is in customer experience. Everyone is in customer experience, because experience is about, have you ever looked for directions to a place and you can't even find the place? That is already bad experience. The fact that you don't have signage. The fact that I walk into this gate and the security guard is so rude. I already have bad experience with your product. So experience for us is from the minute you walk into International Lifehouse, how you're received. Is there signage that shows you we're on the 5th floor? We don't want you to go to the 11th floor and then walk down. So experience thinks about the internal and the external environment. When you come to our office, is there a place where you can sit? There are some offices you go and, like the other day, I went somewhere to collect my passport. And man, we were treated like a bunch of not very nice people. You know, the guy could see us on the glass door. There was no direction or indication where I will have to click the buzzer for you to get in, and it is only one client at a time. So I thought about it from an experience perspective. I said, this doesn't leave a good taste in me. I don't feel like I want to come here. So experience is about informing clients. Today we have a downtime, and this is the reason. Because we don't live in a perfect world. So experience is that 360, the journey. I need to find the location easily. I want to walk in and find someone who's happy to receive me also. I want to be able to, what you marketed on your socials or on your billboard, is that the same information that I will get?
The same experience.
The
That's
same
wonderful.
experience.
And that's an amazing breakdown as well. And even as you speak about it, it really gives the impression that you've tasted of good experience.
Oh, yes. I'm the queen of experience.
So tell us, which is one of the best experiences that you've ever had as a client?
You're going to confine me to one. I have so many.
Or multiple, but the one that just left a lasting impression. That defined experience for you.
Okay, let me speak of two, because one people might think it's a premium product. So the first one, what defined good experience for me was my 12 years in Dubai. That city has really thought through about experience. So my first time to go to Dubai, I went as a Kirinyaga Road trader. And, you know, coming from Kirinyaga Road, their Kirinyaga Road humbled me, or rather the equivalent of the spare parts place.
Yeah.
You walk into a shop and it's an office setup.
Yeah.
You know, you walk into a spare parts shop, it's dirty, greasy, dusty.
Oil everywhere.
Oily, you know, the overalls people are wearing are just so dirty. So first I find people properly dressed up.
Yeah.
Sitting at a desk. And I was like, no, I feel like I'm in the wrong shop. So I start asking for my products. And they'll give me a sample. So that for me defined good experience.
Yeah.
It was well ventilated, good lighting, there was air condition. Then you asked, what do you want to drink? So in one shop I said coffee, in another one I said tea, in another one I said juice. By lunchtime I was full. I'm not talking about one experience with one shop. It was a cross-board. And when I came back, plus being given collateral, pens, you know, brochures that look good, they look the part. So for me, it left me really baffled. I thought of what we do with our customers back in Kenya. And I came back and really rewrote the narrative for my shop. I bought a bunch of pens. First, I gave the free ones that I got from Dubai because I had quite a number. Two, I started offering my customers soda.
Nice.
And that defined experience for me. Another one that I've had, which I always talk to my team about, was with Emirates Airlines.
Tell us.
I was traveling with my children, and first, they started a chauffeur pickup. So if you're traveling in a particular class, they will send a driver to come and pick you from your house. And we found that to be really amazing because we're traveling a lot for work in terms of investor relations. So they'll send someone to your office, send someone to your home to come and pick you.
Wow.
Wait, it's not an Uber. It's either a Mercedes or a Volkswagen or a Volvo. So a good quality car. So that like kind of picked up, and even for economy class, you could book a chauffeur for a price. But for business, it will come at the cost of the all-inclusive. Then they took it a notch higher. So in some destinations, the chauffeur will also be, the chauffeur service will also be at the point of destination. So once you arrive, if you're going to London, they'll get a black cab to get to drop you to your destination. But then we felt like that was it. But then they took it a notch higher. They said, if you're traveling with family, we'll send a car to pick up your luggage and check you in. I'm like, what?
Wow. So
there will be a car that comes to pick up your luggage before you get your nice chauffeur, black cab kind of driver. So that really, for me, was amazing experience. Then I remember there's once I was traveling with 3 small children under 5. That trip really humbled me. But I experienced a lot of good customer experience. First, there was no queuing for women and people traveling with children. Two, by the time you get to the airport, you get the, what do you call it? The baby carriers. So you don't need to think of yours, but these are branded. So the baby carriers, someone came to pick up our luggage ahead of time, check in. Then we were assigned, because they noted I was traveling by myself, I was assigned someone to help me to get to the gate. So I really sat down and thought about it. I was like, why wouldn't I want to travel with Emirates again? That experience spoke to me as a human being. They saw my pain point, traveling with 3 small children. So they assigned someone to help me with the luggage. They assigned someone to help me at the point of check-in. It was so seamless. And not to talk about all the other, you know, the business class experience, all that. aside from that, by that time I was traveling economy, but I was still afforded all those services off the back of someone looking and making an executive decision.
Yeah.
So in your business, have you empowered your staff to be able to make a decision in the best interest of the client? Or do they have to go back to policy that has to go back all the way to the board level?
For confirmation.
For confirmation, at which time
yeah,
the client will already have left.
Yeah.
But that lasting experience really shaped my journey of curating good experiences for our customers. Remember?
Yeah.
Kirinyaga Road experience?
Yes.
All the way to a nice experience with Emirates.
With Emirates.
Yeah.
And so you said something which is very crucial. Listening to you, one would pick that the Emirates staff had preempted your single move.
Yes.
And so when it comes to customer experience, how important is it for anyone who's client-facing, and even especially non-client-facing staff within an organization, to preempt the customer's next moves and prepare seamless experiences for the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Organizations need to first conduct an analysis on what customer expectation is, because you can't preempt without knowing what the expectation is.
Yeah.
A lot of times we think we know what our customers want. We think we already have the desired solution, but what the customer wants could be very, very different.
Yeah.
So that voice of the customer is important, and you have to keep at it, because we're living in a constantly changing world.
Yeah.
So train your staff, train your team, but you must have customer experience at the center of your business, because you're not a monopoly. From an experience perspective, realize that you're not the only entity that is providing that service. You could have a first mover advantage, but where the rubber meets the road is with regards to experience. Why will people want to come back to that particular mall? How are the shops designed? How is the experience designed? Why will people want to come back to Nabo? It's because we have a focus and a huge reliance on customer experience. There are so many fund managers, over 25 fund managers, doing the same business, but what differentiates the fund managers is not just the return, because everyone is generating good returns.
Yes.
But then that experience, so understanding what your customers expect. Some customers don't expect return. Some expect a very personal relationship.
Yeah.
So you can't be everything for everyone. Again, going back to strategy, your differentiation strategy or your cost strategy. If you're a cost operationalization kind of company, then you think about cost. But if differentiation is your strategy, then you have to align with your customer expectation. So the first, to answer your question, is understanding your customer expectations. Then there is the gap arises between customer expectation and customer perception. So what's the expectation and what is the actual perception on the ground?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking about perceptions, can you tell us over time that you had a bad experience that was not well resolved? And also speak to what was your perception before receiving the product or the service and after receiving the product or the service?
I can speak on these for those ones. So let me, maybe a very basic one. I recall there's a time I had identified a shop in town. They had some really nice suits and I wanted to purchase some. So I went to the shop. I tried out, I liked, I think maybe 6 suits. I went to the ATM, my ATM had a limit. I could only withdraw a particular limit. First, even getting those suits off the mannequin to try, the lady just looked so bored and so tired. It's like I'm bothering her.
Oh no.
So that was bad experience. But then I really wanted the suits because they had a good fit and they spoke to me. I went, I think brought half the money, asked her, can you please just remove these ones, the ones that I've selected, so that you don't sell them? She says, no way, we can't do that.
Wow.
I'm like, no, but I'll be back. It was 6 p.m. They
Yeah.
were closing at around maybe for 7. Asked, I'll be back in the morning to withdraw more money from the ATM based on the limit, and then I'll pick and pay. I'm not even carrying the ones, the deposit was a lot of money.
Yeah.
She said no.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I was like, one,
Yeah.
you're employed to sell.
Yes.
There is such a huge disconnect between what you're trying to do. You're acting like you don't want to sell to me. So the next day I came and the owner of the boutique was there. And I realized this girl, the shop attendant, was just acting like that because she had seen her boss act like that. So as leaders, we set the pace.
Yeah.
That was bad experience. Another bad experience I had was with a local hospital. Went to hospital. I had a child who had a high fever. Picked the card. And I could see 2 more clients. Fast forward.
Yeah.
Before we even go to triage, it was after 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Wow.
So even from a communication perspective, first fill out the form. I was like, okay, we've filled the form. We've been here numerous times.
Yeah.
2, you know, the biodata on your fingerprint. For the, I think it wasn't working. So I said, you can call our insurance as we get the child checked because the child is having a fever.
Yeah.
The staff, they just seemed super bored, disinterested.
Yeah.
And that saddened my heart. I have never gone back to that hospital again. It saddened my heart because I wondered how they are not able to perceive that this is a repeat client. They had our records. They could see that we've been here time and time again.
Yeah.
2, the ability to offer a solution. As a customer champion, and everyone is in customer experience, from the CEO to the T person. You have to remember that you're there because of the customers. Those are your biggest employers. So remember that you're there because of the customer. And serve the customer from a place of understanding where the customer is coming from, as opposed to our policy. We like your policy, but please don't tell me about policy.
Section 34
yes.
says
of our policy and our procedures. So that was also bad experience.
Yeah.
Another bad experience we had was was at a restaurant. So I'm trying to give from a service goods and from a restaurant. Went into a restaurant, made an order, and the order, we were, I think, 5 people. One person received, the other person received, one person did not receive in quite some time. So we were all waiting. Manners and courtesy is you wait and start together. So we had to tell the other people, please just start. Just start. So even communication, that waitress would have come and said, I apologize. There was a mix-up in the kitchen. This is what we are doing. And when we complained, they seemed like they just did not even understand what we were talking about. I said, okay, this is really bad experience. Yeah, but there's a lack of understanding of what customer expectation is.
Yeah.
If you go to a fine dining restaurant, I expect to have my food. Fine, you tell me 25 minutes, but also I expect the food to come hot.
Yes.
And I expect everyone to be plated at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to receive it.
And to receive it.
You said something very crucial.
Yeah.
And I believe it's also one of the other things that you overlook when it comes to customer experience, which is employee experience.
Yeah.
From what you've just spoken about, the first 2 scenarios.
Yes.
You mentioned that the staff who are taking care of you seemed disinterested, they seemed bored, they were not there, and they're like, I just need to get my job done and go home. Yeah. This is enough for the day.
Yeah.
So first of all, can you tell us of one situation where you saw employee experience in action that had a positive impact to the experience you received as a client?
Okay, happy to share. First, that's a very good point. In service, there are 4 major service gap analysis. The one you referred to is a service performance gap, where the performance of the service is not as per expectation. And that comes when service standards are not well defined in an organization, there isn't training, or the people who've been recruited are not sitting in the right jobs. So it's important that you do your personality tests for your people, because you could have all these nice things, but then you employ an overly aggressive person to deal with clients, and that just, it becomes a drain for them emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah. So to your question, customer experience, the foundation of it is employee experience. The employees must have experienced the experience themselves to be able to deliver it. I remember in 2021, when I was headhunted for this particular role, one of the visions that Pius shared with me was, one, having a senior person at Nabo at the C-suite level driving experience. Because one, when you drive experience at the C-suite level, you have the right authority, and the right understanding. Because he had seen, yes, Nabo was trying to carve itself out from a CX perspective, but then did not have the right person seated at the right position. Because anyone can drive experience, but then authority in terms of making decisions and also leading the team. So experience first starts from the employees. So the employees must first experience the good experience to be able to deliver the good experience. And you do that through training, a lot of training. You do that through educating them in terms of customer expectations, and you always have to refuel them. A colleague, one of my colleagues and I had a nasty experience with a client. The client actually insulted us.
Wow.
Not once, 3 times. I picked the phone, she insulted, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. This is a grown person hurling insults. By the time they were insulting me, they had really insulted their financial advisor, the relationship manager tasked to them. But the one thing that enabled us to come out of it and not take it personally is because we have good experience as employees at Nabo. We are able to understand that the decisions we make have an impact on our customers. We've been equipped. So equipping your staff is important. Training your staff is important. And training them and also giving them the right tools to be able to deliver that experience is also important.
That is amazing, especially when it comes to the empowerment bit.
Correct.
And I think the leading question to that will be, how do we then create a customer-centric mindset within an organization, especially now for non-client facing teams? I think situations I've seen even with other brands that I've interacted with, you'll find that, say like for the back office team, they'll just know mine is to deliver X. I do not care what your favorite client said. If the delivery time is 48 hours, that's their problem to deal with. Mine I'll just deliver in 48 hours. So how do we change that culture from coming from a place where I'm hell-bent on this, but thinking about the end user and being like, you know what, even if it's 48 hours, let me see how I can overextend myself using the right mechanisms to ensure that I deliver the best experience to this client.
Use the word culture. Culture comes from cult.
So
culture comes from cult. It has to come from the top. So the culture is top down, not bottom up. Your leadership from the board level, so your strategy must be customer-centric approved. Because once you have a strategy that's customer-centric approved, then you have a budget. Because a lot of these things require money. Let me give you an example. At Nabo Capital, when we started our social media channels and our YouTube channels, first it started with the customer in mind. We need to educate our customers. Our customers are and our customers to be. So from a financial literacy perspective, that had to be approved at the board, because it meant we are creating an internal department. Your fund managers, why do you have a digital team? It doesn't make sense.
Yes.
And right now we've got a digital team of 5 people.
Yeah.
There's the equipment, there's a department, and what does that department do? It helps us to deliver the experience, because the experience is also about breaking down what investment is all about. So again, from the top, it has to be part of your strategy. It has to be then ingrained into the business.
Yeah.
For Nabo, I like that customer experience has become the heartbeat, and we interface with every department. When I joined a few years ago, 2022 precisely, that year we were assigned to a particular department to help streamline things. So we are like the guys who were there but not there.
Yeah.
So when we notice there's an issue, then CX comes in and helps that department to streamline and to be able to deliver results. Because we are also cognizant that customer experience is from the brand, how you realize our brand, how you're onboarded, how your portfolio performs, how you're reported, and how you're offboarded. So it's not just at the onboarding phase. A lot of organizations leave it at the onboarding phase.
Yes.
But then for us, we are across board.
Yeah.
We're talking to our finance and operations, our fund admin team about reports. How should these statements look like? So we are interfacing, but then that had to come from a board strategic perspective for the board to say, okay, now we need a chief customer experience at C-suite level, and this person has this particular budget, and this is their role and responsibility. So it's again culture, and you have to infiltrate your team, your organization with that customer readiness and preparedness perspective. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
So, and building off of that, when it comes to culture,
Yes.
it's human to human interaction. You know, I am speaking to a human being.
Correct.
The last thing I would want to know is that I'm speaking to a bot
Yes.
or an AI assistant, and I just want someone to talk to for that day, for example.
Yeah.
You know, and the question here is, when it comes to designing delightful customer experiences, one of the most important things is connecting emotionally with your clients or customers.
Correct.
So how would you recommend or advise someone to start off and get to do that?
Yeah.
That I have an emphatic or an empathetic connection with this client that builds off into loyalty to this specific brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to culture, again, the leadership plays a fundamental role. And you know, there's no degree in customer experience.
Oh, interesting.
There isn't.
Wow.
But you need to know what good experience is
Yeah.
for you to, there's the desired experience, then there's the expectation, what
Yeah.
you actually deliver.
Yeah.
But to your question, how do you connect emotionally? For me and my team is easy. We always put ourselves in the shoes of the customer. We think about that lady who is complaining could be my mother, could be my sister, could be my friend. And it could be I in a different organization, in a different setup. How would I want to be treated? So you always have to think about it from the customer. And that goes with a lot of training, a lot of equipping. CX humbles you, you know. And the service,
that again.
And the service industry really humbles you. If I like, I don't know whether it's one of the founders of the unicorn company said, one of their recruitment criteria is people who've worked as waiting staff.
Oh, nice.
In a hotel.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
you learn how to serve people.
Wow.
It's like it has too much salt, it's too oily,
Yeah.
it's too little, it's too much. You know, people will always voice it out.
Yeah.
But then saying and meaning, I'll take care of it for you, comes from a place where you're always thinking about the customer is always right. And you serve that customer from the place of understanding. I remember, I'll give you a live example. There's once we reported to a client and the statement was, I think we had recalled No. We hadn't recalled the statement. We can scratch that bit. I'll give you a live example. Yeah. There's once we had a client who had invested in a particular fund, which was very volatile, the equity fund. And this client was not happy about the returns. Said, no, this is it. We knew that equities are very volatile. You make money based on how the price movement goes. Yeah. And we had communicated that to the client. So when I came in, I first tried to understand, what is the customer saying? And why are they saying what they're saying from their point of view? So they told me, the last 6 months I had made money. This month I haven't made money. Said, I understand. So first it was from an empathy perspective. I understand where you're actually coming from. And before talking about how the fund operates and how it is volatile, I first had to speak to them from their own perspective. They were angry, they were hurt, they were emotional about the fact that they had lost a bit of money that particular month. I said, okay, fine. I hear you. Now let's talk about the product. See, this is how this particular product works. And because you are not keen on that volatility, you liked it when it was going up, maybe we need to shift your product. We need to take you to another fund that's a bit stable, has lower returns. Then the client was like, okay, now I understand. But without first understanding where they were coming from, indeed we were right. This is how this particular fund operates. But understanding what the customer is actually saying, why are they saying what they're saying? They could be wrong, but that's not the point. And some of the words that you never use with a customer, never tell them, you're wrong, I'm blaming you, never ignore a customer, never act like nothing is wrong. Because that is just, it doesn't help with the recovery. You first have to acknowledge the problem. I understand where you're coming from. You have to explain the cause. You have to apologize for their lack of understanding. You're not apologizing because you've done anything wrong. You have to tell them, I empathize and I hear what you're saying. You have to offer them a solution and options. And you have to take responsibility. And that responsibility is, I hear you, you are not akin to volatile portfolios, so can I offer you something else? Take responsibility and follow through. That following through is coming back to them and saying, by the way, Mr. X, this is what we agreed at our last meeting. Do you still want to proceed? Do you still? Then if they say, I still want to continue in this volatile fund, at least they have had the opportunity to rectify, to be upgraded, or to be informed of the reason and the rationale. So unpacking that is key. There's a question you asked me around employee experience. I wanted to share my experience. There's once I was looking to join a particular course here with a local university, and I went to that university, and they gave me a lot of content. I wasn't sure, but the person who made me make the decision was the relationship manager. They called me. They shared insights far above. So it moved from basic marketing to experience. Mercy, what are your concerns? I said, by the way, I want to take this course so that I can network. Oh, really? So they gave me data. This is the profile of the people in your class. I think in 2 hours I made the decision. Wow. Because their pitch was the benefits of the course. You know, you're going to learn. And I'm like, yeah, but I can learn anywhere else. I can learn online. But then my biggest concern was the ability to have the opportunity to network with like-minded people. So CX is about listening. And don't ignore the customer. Regardless of how small that portfolio looks like, that customer is just your biggest ambassador. At Nabo, we call it wowing our customers because we want to create a community of wowed individuals. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And even just jumping off of that point, something that client-facing teams and just any other business face, as you've mentioned, is emotional customers. And remembering that this is a human-to-human interaction, staff as well are emotional.
Yes.
So how should a client-facing personnel manage the emotions in the event of a volatile experience with a client?
Yeah.
Yeah.
IQ is important, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And what's emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to be able to read the room, to be able to read that Teddy here is very, very upset. So I have to be cautious with my words around Teddy.
Yeah.
And to know what you can control and what you can't control. I can't control how the customer responds and reacts. And the one thing I keep telling my team is we can't change who we are. We can't change our kindness, our goodness, our helpfulness, regardless of how the customer reacts on the other end. Because you can't control how the other person reacts. So emotional intelligence is really, really important. The other thing that I've found also from a customer experience perspective is self-awareness. It is so important to be so self-aware of who you are. And I know at times I have triggers and I'm like, I can't talk to this customer right now. Because I'll say the wrong thing. I am emotional. It's that time of the month. I'm not seeing it. I actually want to yell at them because I'm human. Yeah. So self-awareness, self-mastery is at the heartbeat of customer experience.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you have to be able to know yourself and also know your personality. And I remember a few months ago, and I think we do it on a regular basis within our departments, is we do our personality tests. Because we want to check the barometer. We want to know that we actually have the right people. You don't want a melancholic serving as a CX champion. Really, they will do it, but they will be so emotionally drained. Look at our CX champion, Cynthia. She's a sanguine. She can talk to people
and catch up on life.
And the clients are not nice at times, but she'll be able to keep that perspective. So self-awareness, know yourself, don't take the job just for the sake, and then also to be equipped. So EQ is important.
EQ and self-awareness.
And self-awareness.
You're like, don't try me today.
Yes, don't try me today. There are days I'm just having a bad day.
And it's really good to know and actually acknowledge so that your team covers you in some of those instances. And even building now off of that, the other thing on customer experience is voice of the customer. And one of the best ways to enhance your customer experience is to ensure that your voice of the customer pipeline is well structured, well designed, and you're able to gather as many insights as possible from clients, especially the indirect ones. So what would you speak about concerning the VOC?
Wow, you know we're big on VOC. So on the voice of the customer, there are many mechanisms of getting to know the pulse and the voice of your customers. So aside from your typical surveys, I like that WhatsApp right now nowadays has a poll. So you can simplify it and go to the WhatsApp poll kind of level. You can send your clients survey forms on Google and make it easy. But the one that I like most, and we do it at Nabo on a daily basis, is we call our customers. We don't call them to sell. We call them to just find out how are they doing. In 2022, 2023, between our CEO and I, we had 5 daily calls with our customers. And we called and said, hi, Lauren, how are you doing? We just called to check up on you. And the customer will be like, what? What are you talking about? And this was from a place of first interacting with them as human beings, the relationship. Then Lauren will say, you know what? I actually wanted to tell you this. So they begin to speak about their experience. They begin to share. They begin to say, my relationship manager is the best. Oh, by the way, I haven't heard from my relationship manager for the last 12 months. So that enabled us to go back and to design our surveys because we were already in touch with a lot of customers. Nowadays, I don't do it as much because of the nature of my work. It's evolving. But then my team, I'm sure you've received a call from a lady called Cynthia, if you're a Nabo client, just asking you, how are you doing? We saw that you did a big redemption. Is everything okay? We're not calling you to tell you to bring the money back. And at times clients have said, I was going through this. We've sent them flowers. And they have been so moved. They've said, we'll send the money back. But we didn't do it because of the money. We did it from a place of first ensuring that we are in touch with our customers. So that helped us to go back to understand the voice of the customers. What do the customers expect? What is it that they really want? And we drafted our surveys based on that. I found that people are very, very busy. Nowadays, we're living in a constantly evolving world with competing priorities from family to work to community. So how do you make it easy for your customers to be able to connect with you? Another way that we do it is on a quarterly basis. We meet with our institutional clients. We meet with our high net worth clients. We go visit them at their homes. We buy them lunch and we listen to them. So you can find a way of, once you segment your customers, you can find a way of getting that customer voice back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wow. So even as we start wrapping up, there's something you mentioned that probably you could get to teach us and train us more on, which is that service gap.
Yeah.
And the challenge that we notice, and it's something I've experienced multiple times.
Yes.
You get a perception or an expectation of a particular service, but the actual experience that you receive is very different to that. And I know what explains that disparity is a service gap model.
Yeah.
And when it comes to institutions, businesses, and even just general day-to-day relationships, what could you speak about concerning this metric or this tool that's a service gap model? How does it look like?
Yeah.
And how will I consider it, especially from an institution, to improve my service delivery, both products and services as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Teddy. That's a very tech question, so I hope I won't bore you. But a gap arises when there's an expectation and perception. So I expected this, but this is not what I got.
Yeah.
And why did I get that expectation? It could be one from a knowledge gap that the customer expects, because I'm within a fund in our business. Let me use a live example. Because I'm a client of Nabo's money market fund, and I've been looking at peer performance, I expect this particular return. Yeah. So the customer is coming off a particular layer of knowledge. The second is your design and service gap. So you have designed your service, and we did a survey most recently also with our peers. We looked at customer response time. Customers expect that when they call, someone should respond.
Yes.
When they post on social media, someone should respond. So we realized that in terms of service gap, we have to be agile. We have to use omni-channel means of communication, where we're not beginning the conversation here, and those are some of the enhancements that we're bringing on board. Yeah. So from a design perspective, the other one is on the service performance perspective. Customers expect a particular level of service, but then the providers or the users of the service, we spoke about it, the employees, are they trained? Do they actually know that this service should be conducted in a particular way? Yeah. What are your standards? What are your processes internally? Those really influence that service performance. And you have to train and retrain and have that culture. The fourth one is communication. Hey, you know, people in sales can overpromise. Yeah?
Yes.
So communication gap is a huge gap. I expected. I was told. So how do you go back and ensure that there is no communication gap? First, by training the people who are communicating, the team, the client-facing team, and also the internal team that's not client-facing, so that the narrative is always the same. At Nabo, our ethos is goal-based investment. When I meet a client, I don't want to talk about a return. I don't want to start with, FYI. By the way, FYI, our money market fund has been trailblazing this last year, top 5 this last year. But then I don't want to talk about that because nobody ever ate a return. I want to be able to talk and communicate that you can invest based on your purpose. Your purpose could be to go on holiday. We're going to holiday season. Your purpose could be to buy a phone. Your purpose could be from a legacy planning. Your purpose could be education. So our communication narrative across Nabo is IWP, investing with purpose. We communicate investing with purpose, and we ensure that we re-echo that message. So communication gap could be an issue where customers have been overpromised something. So we try to ensure that we don't misrepresent. We ensure that we tell our clients, one of the, if you're within the fund management regime, is there are no guarantees. Yeah, and if anyone ever tells you the return is guaranteed, okay, just run. So those are the 4 gaps. Knowledge gap, service design, service performance, and communication gap. Those gaps, when they're closed in, then your expectation and your actual delivery, the clients will be receiving what they expected to receive.
Wonderful, thank you. That's something even for me, I'll definitely get to sit down and just unpack and even just get to assess, even out of the brands that I love, how they've been able to cover those specific gaps. And so even as we wrap this up and bring this to a close, the CX theme for this year is going above and beyond. What would you say concerning that with respect to Nabo and what you're looking forward to?
I like that, going above and beyond. One of the, I spoke to it, one of our ethos is goal-based investing, which is personalized. We know that you all could be the same age group, but we don't segment our clients based on demographics. We understand that every person is very, very unique. So for us, going above and beyond is having crafted portfolios for each client based on what their purpose is, based on what their risk is, based on what their expectation is. And we tell our clients, you don't need to worry about risk. Just tell us what your goal is and we will take care of it for you. So we do that. The second one, in terms of going above and beyond, I'm happy to share is we're going live with our digital innovation platforms. This should be launched by the end of this month. We have been onboarding our automated client portal and also our app. The reason this has taken long is because we wanted to make sure that the foundations are right. We did not, it's very easy to go get an app and a system from off the shelf. But the whole of last year, we spent a good 12 months rewriting our processes because we did not want to go through any service performance gaps. So we rewrote our processes because our business is constantly evolving, and right now we have designed our digital innovation based on those processes, and we want to ensure that it's solid, it's rigorous. So we're in the prototype testing phase. It should be going live this year. So that's our way of going above and beyond. Another way of going above and beyond is we are always evangelizing financial literacy at Nabo. We've gone above and beyond. And you'll hear our CEO Pius speak. And every time he speaks, he doesn't ask people to come to Nabo only. We understand that there are 36 million bank accounts in Kenya in comparison to 1.5, 1.2 million investment accounts. Everybody needs an investment account. So we are not in competition, we're collaborating. That's another way that we go above and beyond. The fourth one is that we're a Pan-African investment house. At Nabo Capital, we not only invest in Kenya, because we realize that you have to have a good mix of geographical diversification. We have investments in Uganda. We are, if you go to Capital Markets Authority within the CIS collective investment schemes, you know, those money market funds, we are actually the only fund manager that has an approval to invest over 80% of our assets outside of Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Why? Yeah. We have a track record. We've done it with our own money, and we have been doing it time and time again. So that's our way of going above and beyond. And the fourth one is, if I may go back to the digital one, we have democratized investments. Nice. At Nabo, you can start with as little as 5 bob. Check out our app at Chums, our partnership with Moneto. Chums allows you to invest as little as possible. I'm a parent. I have my children investment accounts at Chums because it helps them to be able to see. And investment is what? 80% behavioral, 20% the amount. So if we start building that sustainable behavior with the little ones, it will become very easy for them to switch gears and invest once they get their first salary. Yeah. So that's our way of going above and beyond. Personalized approach, Pan-African investments. We've got dollar funds because we realize that the local currency is very volatile. Our dollar funds have been in existence for over 10 years. We've been investing in Angola, in Egypt. We've been investing in Nigeria when things were good. So we are not just a Kenyan investment house. Yeah. The third one is digital innovation. We're big on that, and we're also big on AI. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy. And so if we could just give you a minute to just speak to the customer who is watching this.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I will tell our customers that are and that are to be. First, to our Nabo customers, thank you. Thank you for choosing us to be your investment partner. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your feedback. I know in the feedback iceberg, we only get to hear 5%, but thank you for the feedback that comes to us directly through our channels. Thank you for the feedback that comes through your relationship manager. Thank you for the feedback that you give us directly even through our CEO. We appreciate your partnership, and we are so happy that you have chosen us to help you to achieve your investment goal and your investment purpose. To our to-be customers, when you're choosing your fund manager, it's not just about the transaction. Anyone can do a transaction. Anyone can have a money market fund. It's about the relationship. Far above that particular transaction is your relationship manager or your fund manager also akin to the relationship element. Are they big on experience? We are big on experience. So talk to us. We are happy to continue to speak. Even if you don't talk to us, go through our social media handles, check out our YouTube page to be able to filter through what is a legit investment product that works for you. Remember, don't just follow the masses. Invest with your purpose. Invest with Nabo Capital. Thank you.